Some of my new friends around here were like, hey, that's a nice sweater. And I was like, yeah, my mom knit it. And they're like, that's amazing. She really knit that. I love when stuff has history. So when I moved to Stockholm in 2012, and I met this group of Americans that wore red hats, like a little cult of their own, I got very curious. But it wasn't until my 24th birthday when my friend Billy, one of these Americans, slammed a red hat, this one, down on my table and said, now you go. And I gave it a try and I figured out, yeah, I like red hats. So I went down into this rabbit hole and began to learn about the culture and history of a red hat, which, by the way, is so much more than I thought from the beginning. So my brother-in-law, Ben, he showed me the movie Life Aquatic, and I began to understand that, okay, this is a thing. I realized that movie traces its roots back to another character, and then there's deep roots there, and we can make another video about that. Or if you're curious right now, I'll add a link in the description to an article I did about that. But back to my 24th birthday and Billy slamming a hat down on my table. The thing when you move to such an international city as Stockholm, as I did in 2012, people start to notice things about your culture that you didn't think about yourself. And in Norwegian culture, we always have somebody that knits, hand knitting. And I wore my hand knit wool socks and my hand knit wool sweaters around in Stockholm. And some of my new friends around here were like, hey, that's a nice sweater. And I was like, yeah, my mom knit it. And they're like, that's amazing. She really knit that. And I was like, yeah, it's actually quite cool. You know, I grew up with it. Since my grandma started knitting in 1932, knitting has been such a big part of our family. Like half of our winter apparel has been home knit. And I didn't think about it. So with this new realization, I went back to Norway and the idea struck me. What if we can knit our own version of this red hat? That would be super cool. Then you have the history and the heritage of the red hat as a symbol of adventure and pioneering. But you also have the history of Norwegian hand knitting. So it's two historical threads woven together into one beanie. In 2016, we had finished the model, and somewhere along the way, we just came with the idea like, we have a product now, we have something cool, maybe we should see if anybody else are interested in it. And here we are, years later, we are selling beanies all across the world, hand knit. So what Billy didn't know at the time, when he slammed a beanie down on my table, he was really slamming a company down on my table, only in seed form. And if you want to stay in touch with us here on YouTube, subscribe, and give this video a like, that would be amazing.